Hi, everyone. We're back with another episode of The Janelle Show, and I am so excited to bring to you today Dawnette Palmore. She is the founder and owner of Your Money on Purpose Coaching, where she empowers professional and entrepreneur women who make great money but don't know where it goes to gain control of their finances without sacrificing their lifestyle so they can live a financially stress-free life. Dawnette is committed to helping women to thrive in their business and life instead of just surviving. Thank you so much for being here with us today, Darnett.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited about our conversation today.
I am too. So, how did you get into this space of coaching? Because this is a very niche space.
Yeah, so it kind of fell in my lap. I would say about 8 or 9 years ago, I got tired of living paycheck to paycheck. Um, I say I had more month at the end of my money. And I was just like, we make too much money and this is ridiculous. What can I do? So I found some systems and processes that made it very doable, not overwhelming. I was able to hit my goals and I wanted to share that with other people. I didn't even know it was a thing. And I was like, oh my
Mhm.
gosh, I could help people with this. This is fantastic. So, gosh, it's been 7 years now.
No, that's wonderful. So, tell me, what exactly does a financial coach do?
So I explain it like this. I help people with their everyday behaviors and habits with money to align with their goals and values.
So, is that just making a budget, or is it something more?
So we don't call it a budget, we call it a spending plan.
Okay.
But it's so much more because if it was about numbers, we could do this, right? But it's
Right.
not about money. It's not about our numbers. It's so much deeper. And a lot of people don't even know what they're trying to accomplish in life. They're
Mhm.
just going through day to day. They don't realize that what they're doing every day with their money. They're not even looking at their accounts. Some people don't even know how much money they get paid. So
Mm.
if they don't know how much is coming in, they certainly don't know how much is going out. And so I help them to realize that we go through changing their behaviors and habits because that's really where it's at, right? This relationship we have with money and helping them one come up with like what are their money blocks, what did they learn about money and how can we change that to make it to what they want it to be. Because between ages 1 and 7 we were shaped and molded and our subconscious was pretty much set, and it takes a lot of work to undo that.
Yeah, no, that makes complete sense. So what does it look like if I hired you as my finance coach? What does that look like? What is the process? How does it work?
Yeah, so I ask for 3 months of bank statements and or credit card statements if you're using them.
Mhm.
And I do that so that I can see what's going on, but then show you what's going on because a lot of people are afraid to look at it. They're not going to look at it. They're just going to say, here's what I'm spending. And it's not reality. And it's
Mhm.
not to beat them up or say, look what you did, but it's like, okay, this is what's going on. Now that we're aware of it, now we have the power to change it.
I love that.
Now we can really do some magic and do the work and get to the things you want to do. So I do that. We look at it. We spend 2 hours taking a deep dive into where do you want your money to go? What do you want to spend your money on? What's important to you? What do you value? What are things you need to think about? Because I don't do it as a month, but as a whole year, right? Because we don't spend
Mhm.
money just every month. We spend it all year.
Mm.
Meaning, what about the holidays and the events and the birthdays that come up? We're not even thinking about till it comes
Right.
up and then we spend the money and it's like, oh no, the whole spending plan's out of whack. So if we could plan for that early, it's
Right.
just nice and smooth when that holiday or birthday comes up, right?
No,
And then
definitely.
yeah, and then so we just keep meeting for 3 months. I do a foundational coaching. We meet and we do I hold you accountable. We talk about any obstacles that might come up. How did things go? How are you feeling? A lot of stuff can come up.
I can imagine. So do you find I was just talking to our last guest last week about trauma. Um, and how does that affect our finances? How do you think?
Well, it could a lot, right? Because depending on how we grew up or if we got married or we're in a relationship where we're being manipulated by it, it's
Mhm.
going to make us
Yeah.
very afraid of it. And that's a lot of work we got to do, get into it. What is it? Why are you fearing it? Let's look at it. I had a client, she's like, I'm so afraid to look at it. And I don't, and I'm like, okay, let's get on a call and let's look at it together.
Yeah.
Like, it's better to know what's going on because we can't do anything about it if we're not looking at it. And, it's a process, especially even with trauma.
No, definitely. So you offer a done with you type of service.
Yes.
What about people who can't afford your services yet? They're like, oh my God, I wish I had the money to afford her. Of course, their money is somewhere, right? They just don't know where
Yeah. So
they just don't know
usually,
where it is yet. So do you have anything for people like that?
so I'm in the process of creating a course. I do have a little mini course. It's like 30 minutes on 3 steps on how to make your money behave. It's like $47. So they
Mhm.
can go do that. And most of my clients, they'll say, how do I pay you? But we usually find the money
Mhm.
because now we know where it's going, right?
Mhm. Yep, it's always there, just where.
Yes, exactly.
I love that. I love that. So, what made you step into this coaching realm? I know, you stepped into finance, but not doing a 9 to 5, but being an entrepreneur. What made you step into that realm?
That's a great question. I'm trying to figure it out. Entrepreneurship just kind of fell in my lap. We have been small business owners for over 22 years. So
Mm,
it's pretty much all I've known for the last 22 years. And before that, during that time, I was raising my kids and, I became a mom at 17. So I only had one or two 9 to 5s.
mhm.
And then I stayed home and had the opportunity to help my husband with our business. And I mean, I am a high D, so I don't want people telling me what to do.
Same here.
And I was like, this is perfect. Like my kids were growing up, moving out, and this is a perfect segue into, being that 24/7 mom to being, maybe, I don't know what you would call it, but not being needed as much, right? They're
Right.
independent,
Mhm.
they're out there, and I got to fill my time with something. But what a perfect way to just empower women and to get out there and help them with one of the things that's so taboo in our country and almost the whole world. People don't like to talk about it.
Mhm.
It's been, just a bad experience for people, and it really shouldn't because we need it. We have to have it to live. I mean, it's a fact of life.
No, definitely. Money makes the world go round, they say, right?
I mean, it does. We can't get around that.
Yeah, that's true. So, okay, we'll stay on the entrepreneur kind of thought process here. So, how do you stay motivated and kind of keep a balance with all of this? Because it sounds like you do a lot. It sounds like there's other businesses that you're running with your husband,
Yeah.
and you have grown children that, of course, still need us because children always still need us.
Yeah.
And then you have this coaching business. So, you're juggling quite a bit here. So, how do you keep that balance?
Yeah. So I make sure I have time for myself. So every morning I'm taking time
Yeah.
out. I do my devotions, I work out, I do my mindset stuff, and I have my affirmations right here that I'm reading, and
Mm,
I make sure I do that every morning. I make sure I pick up my grandson once a month and we spend the weekend together.
mm.
And just making sure that that's a priority because that's important to me because we can make money later, we can make more money, but we can't get the time back and we can't get those moments back. So I make sure they are in my calendar and I schedule everything around it.
I love that. So your strategy is picking what's really important to you, putting it in your calendar first, and then booking the rest of your entrepreneurial goals around the important things. I like that.
Yes.
I like that a lot. Thank you. So I wanted to discuss with you, go back a little to the financial part of this. When you're in this industry, you hear a lot about people who want to hit 6 figures. That's a big talking point is that 6 figure mark. I would like for you to talk to new entrepreneurs who are just starting out. They're trying to get to that point. What advice do you have for them of them trying to get to the 6 figure mark or just even just trying to get their first dollar, right? Just starting out.
Yeah, yeah. So I would say, is that really your goal?
Mm,
Is that really what you want to do? Or is that what somebody told you to do?
right.
You need to figure out what's important to you and what you want to accomplish in your business and drive from there, not from what do they call it? The $10,000 month or $20,000
Mm,
month. Like none of that matters if you're not doing what's important to you. If you're losing everything for it, it doesn't matter.
Right.
So really, I would say start with designing your business. This is something I have taken clients through.
Mm,
What do you want your business to look like? What don't you want it to look like? And what are you going to sacrifice or not sacrifice? There's so much to think and consider when starting a business to make sure that as entrepreneurs, we get squirrels, right? I call them squirrels, like
mm,
squirrel, squirrel. But this helps us stay focused. So creating we hear about our why all the time, right? What about creating a why for your business
mm-hmm. Yeah.
and making sure that you're staying in alignment with that as you make choices and decisions? And no, it doesn't happen overnight.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen overnight. So, take your time, enjoy the journey, and, focus on what's important to you and why you are in business.
I love that. I remember I was talking to someone, they said, okay, you know what your why is. Now, every time you get an opportunity offered to you, you get a task that you're thinking of doing, does that fit with your why? If
Yep.
it doesn't, then you don't need to be doing it because all it's going to do is take you off of track.
Yep. And we have to really focus in on that because, again, we just get in a world full of distractions, we get distracted.
Right. Exactly. We were talking earlier about you were outsourcing some of your needs for your business, your tasks and things like that. So when did you get to the point that you realized you needed to start outsourcing?
Yeah. So I would say probably about a year ago.
Okay.
I started hiring one of my kids to do some of my social media, because that can take a lot of time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so that's what I started doing. And then I was like, oh, I'm going to build this course and I don't even know how I'm going to build this course. I need someone to help me because it's so time consuming. So I hired a VA, I would say just in the last month to really just be there like 5 hours a week to help me with the funnels. So I could do things like, make the video and, um, do other things with my time that are more making money than just, they say, working on your businesses and then in your business, right?
Right, right. So for you, it wasn't necessarily an amount of money that you made. It was more, these are tasks that I don't want to do. This is not my sweet spot. I'm going to give it to somebody that knows what they're doing, knows how to handle this, so I can focus on what I love to do, what I'm passionate about in my business.
Exactly. Really just seeing, not only is I'm not enjoying doing it, but it's taking my time that I could be doing other things.
Right. Okay. So I'm going to give an example. This is just for people that are listening. If you are charging $200 an hour for your services and somebody may charge $35 an hour to do the VA work for you, kind of have to weigh, is it worth me taking this time to take 10 hours to do this when I could be doing 10 hours worth of services to make money and just pay somebody the $35 to do. So I think that's what Donette is saying.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. We got to focus on the things that are making us money. Not that the social media isn't, and it may
Mhm.
not be, it's just, we're trying to get a presence and things like that. So focus on what is making you money, what is bringing in the money, and let somebody else do the other things.
Yes, I like that. Money-making activities. Focus on those guys. Donette, is there anything else that you wanted to share with the audience? Any advice, any thoughts?
You know what? It's the perfect time. I don't know when this is airing, but right now we're at the end of 2022 and we're getting a new year started. It's a great time to really reflect on what you've done this year, what you did well, what you need to improve on, and looking and setting new goals for the next year. And so resetting, I call it reflecting and resetting, and really just looking to see what's important to us. What do we want to do this year? And we can get clarity on what we did the previous year. And I don't say what we did wrong, but what can we improve on? Maybe we found that things just aren't that important to us that we thought, and that's okay. Now we can move that out of the way and get better clarity on and move forward on what's important to us. And it's important to do that every single year, you guys. Make sure you take 2 to 3 days out and just go away, shut the door, do something, get everything out of the way, and just really reflect and reset your business, your personal life, your relationships, all of it.
I would challenge the listeners to try to do that once a month. Take,
Oh,
yes, take,
okay.
and it doesn't even have to be a day. Take 3 hours and reflect on the month. What
That's
has been
great.
working? What hasn't been working? What do we need to change? And what do we need to stay the same? And take that into the next month. That way you can build upon it. I love that.
That's awesome. I love it.
Yes. Thank you. I would love to get from you a book recommendation. I am a big book reader, and I would love to get what you're reading or a book that changed your life.
Yeah, so I just finished a book called The Game of Life and How to Play It by Florence Shinn. This is all her collections.
Mm,
Really great book, a lot of things to think about. And something I learned from it was, sometimes we get upset with people. We don't understand why they've done what they do. But she has changed it to where I look at everybody's a teaching lesson for me.
mhm,
No matter what, even the person that cut you off or did whatever,
mhm.
it's a teaching lesson. And so that's really shifted the way that I go through my day. And I look at people and things and situations as teaching lessons instead of something that's trying to aggravate me.
I really learned this year to give not only myself, but other people a huge amount of grace. And I
Mm,
think that's what you're doing, is giving everybody grace. If this person that cut me off, I'm giving you grace that you really needed to get where you're going. Maybe you have an emergency that I don't know about. So
yes, exactly. That's a
I
great
love
way to
that.
think about it, right? We can walk around differently in this world and that somebody's going to see that. And it's people aren't changed by our opinion, but they're changed by the way that we are, the way that we act, the love that we show. And so the more love we show, this world needs so much love. So the more we show, the more it goes out there and they're going to say, you know what? That person didn't give me the finger, even though I cut them off. I'm
Mhm.
going to, pay it forward to the next person.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And some of the time, excuse me, I've noticed that some of the times it can be an accident. I've done it before. I didn't see somebody, I had a blind spot, or, I turned out they came over the hill really quickly. So we just, like I said, we've got to give grace because we've done the same things to other people that they're doing to us.
Very true.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Well, Dawnette, this was absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for being here with me today.
Oh, thank you for having me. I enjoyed it.
Everyone, you guys have been listening to The Janelle Show. We appreciate you being here. We are here every Sunday at 10 a.m. Thank you for listening and stay tuned for next week's recording.